Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Annie and I am here to help you with your spoken English, your vocabulary and communication skills. We all have been part of conversations that are just not going well. Whether you are talking to someone one-on-one or if you are in a group, sometimes your conversation just hits the dead end. Sometimes it's like the other person seems uninterested in what you have to say, and sometimes you don't understand what the other person is saying, or sometimes you are just in a group standing silently thinking if you should join and say something. Today, I've got certain conversational tools and conversational rules that will help you improve your conversational skills, and by the end of the video you will not only be a part of an active and interesting conversation, but you will also be able to lead a conversation. So I recommend you to watch the entire video. And for those who are new here, hello, you might just think of hitting that subscribe button as well. Firstly, I want you to think of that person whom you cannot stand at all. I mean, like, you don't have personal grudges against them, but you just don't like the way they talk. And you would rather not have any conversation with them at all. This is exactly the type of person we will try to avoid becoming. Firstly, let us go through the conversational rules. These are quite basic but very important. The first conversational rule is kiss and kill. Now, these terms are mostly used by the marketing salesmen. Kiss means keep it short and simple, and kill means to keep it long and lengthy. So the first rule is to keep your conversations short. Make sure that whatever you have to say is short, because the attention span of a person is very small. It can get distracted very quickly, very easily. So just make sure that whatever you are saying is short. The aim here is to try to convey the maximum information in minimum words. If whatever you want to say can be said in 2-3 sentences instead of a long paragraph, do it. The rule here is to keep it short. Remember guys, less is more. The next rule is to train your track. There is nothing more annoying than a person who tries to always discourse the topic that you are talking about. He or she might often go off the context and talk about irrelevant things. So this is a rule that you always must stick to the topic, that whatever the conversation is going about. Just because you want to talk about it doesn't mean that everybody else wants to listen it. So remember guys, whenever you are in a group, whenever you are having a conversation, just stick to the topic. The third rule is to be a listener. The word communication means commune, which means to share. So a conversation is a sharing of ideas between two persons, two or more than two. So it doesn't have to be a monologue. So sometimes you have to listen and try to understand what the other person is saying, because if you only keep on talking and not let the other person speak, then your conversation skills are very poor. Do not try to be that person who is always dominating the conversation. The first and most important and basic rule of any conversation is to be a good listener. So don't try to force your opinions on other or try to be the person who needs to talk. Just try to listen sometimes. The next rule is very basic, very simple, very important. Many people don't understand the importance of this, but never interrupt while someone is speaking. This is the most basic conversational rule. Never interrupt. If you have a thought or an idea that you just want to convey, wait for the other person to finish speaking and then you can say whatever you have to say. Never ever interrupt anyway mid-sentence. It is very rude and very unprofessional, and it doesn't seem nice. Just try to be polite. Wait till the other person finishes his or her sentence and then you can express your thoughts. The next rule is never try to make anyone agree with you. Everyone is free to have their own opinion. So don't be a person in the conversation who always tries to force his or her opinions on others. Most important part of being a good person with a good conversational skill is to try to listen and really understand what is going around you. So don't try to be that person who always throws their opinions and judgments on others. People find it very annoying, and if you have this habit, I would request you to stop, because most people won't like to talk to you. Remember, this is the type of person that we want to avoid. The last rule is to speak only when necessary. Now I know conversation is incomplete without two-person talking, but literally do not speak unless you are asked to, and only when it's necessary. This is a great advice for any conversation. Just slightly nod along, agree with them, but don't try to speak something unless and until it is not necessary. Now let's look at some of the conversational tools. Now the first tool that in my opinion in any conversation is great to have is humor. Try to bring a sense of humor in your conversation. Humor means being funny and sarcastic. People adore and actually like it when there's a fun conversation going on, but really try to read the room. There is a very thin line between being funny and not taking things seriously. So you might want to tread on that lightly. The next conversational tool is question tags. You know what they are, aren't you? I just used one. So question tags are the small questions behind a sentence. We use question tags when we want the other person to confirm something or just agree with us. For example, if you want to ask someone if they have seen a movie, you can ask, "Did you see the movie?" But using question tags makes your conversation more personal. The other person seems more involved when you use a question tag. For example, instead of "Did you see the movie?" you can ask, "You have seen the movie, haven't you?" And if you want to imply that the person hasn't seen the movie, you can ask, "You haven't seen the movie, have you?" Now, it's quite tricky to form these question tags. The positive statements go with the negative question tag, and the negative sentence go with the positive question tags. You are happy, aren't you? So you see, when we want to imply a positive statement, we just say the statement and end it with a negative question tag. Like, "You are happy" is a positive sentence and "aren't you" is a negative. So "are you happy, aren't you" is the same thing as asking someone, "Are you happy?" Other examples are, "He is home, isn't he? The movie was good, wasn't it? You can do that, can't you? We should make a decision, shouldn't we?" After the negative sentence, there will be a positive question tag. For example, "I'm not going, am I?" As you can see, "I am not going" is a negative sentence and "am I" is positive. So remember, for the negative sentence, there will be a positive question tag, and for the positive sentence, there will be a negative question tag. You aren't happy, are you? The movie wasn't good, was it? We shouldn't make a decision about that, should we? Use a question tag when you want to make the other person feel more involved and it to be quite personal. The next conversational tool is to use figurative language. Now, figurative language is using the type of words that, just open your imagination, and these words are more descriptive. Now, figurative language you can use, and you'll have to use the figures of speech. I will make a different video for figure of speech. The basic figure of speech are similes and metaphors. Now, I think metaphor is a great way to improve your conversation. As you know, when we compare something, we use the words such as and like. He is so strong like the Hulk. Your heart is as cold as ice. When we use the words like and as for comparison, they are known as similes. But when we compare something without using the word as and like, it is known as metaphor. Now, metaphors are the perfect ways to describe something. Most of the writers use metaphors to build an imagination in their readers. The office was a fish market. It's raining cats and dogs. He was crying a river. Now, these are some of the metaphors, and as you must have noticed, we have compared things without using as or like. I will make a different video about all the figures of speech. The last conversational tool for today is the use of phrases and sayings. Use as many phrases and sayings you can use in your conversation. Using phrases and sayings in your conversations give your speech a qualitative value, and we want a qualitative value and not a quantitative value. So remember, for conversations always less is more. Those were some of the rules of conversation and some of the tools that you could use in your daily conversations to improve your speaking skills. And I hope you like this video. Please give me a thumbs up and share with all of your friends. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all in my next video.